Never ask me that again. You know how I feel about my work now. You know better than that.
I was only doing her a favor. She begged me to ask you, and I promised her I would.
She begged you? She begged me? Please, Mr. Moffat, please let me pose for you. I'll do anything if you only let me pose for you. Well, she posed. The painting is mine to do with as I please.
All right, Robbie.
Get out, Fairchild. You've drunk my whiskey, had a few laughs. Go home and go to bed. I'm going to work.
Work? At this hour of the night?
Yes, at this hour of the night. While the rest of the world sleeps. While my wife sleeps. I do my best work at night. I love the night. It excites me. Do you know, I've often thought that death must be like the night. I mean, it's so absolutely still. Nothing stirs. Does death frighten you, Nat?
Yes. Yes, I guess it does.
Then everything frightens you. You know, for many years I have wanted to paint the angel of death. Tonight is the night. It will be another masterpiece.
Portrait of the artist in love with himself.
Get out, good job.
Never do tonight what you can do tomorrow.
Tomorrow, we may all be dead.
Not you, Robbie. Not you. You live forever.
Get out, Fairchild. Hello? Yes, as a matter of fact, he was, but he just left. Maritza? You didn't recognize my voice, darling. That's not very flattering, is it? I haven't forgotten yours. I have tried. So yes, I thought it was you that put him up to coming out here tonight. No. Now, you know better than that. I mean, you didn't seriously expect that I would give Matt that painting, did you? No. I'd as soon give up my other eye. Paintings, like some other things I can think of, are best when they are shared. Ah, Maritza, you're such a paradox. No. A paradox, darling. A marriage of the opposites. Like you, on the outside, on the surface, a mature and lovely woman. But on the inside,
masterpiece, doomed by the shaft of an assassin's crossbow to remain just as we see it. Blank and lifeless as the murdered artist himself. It is said that art is a human activity, having for its purpose the transmission to others of the highest and noblest feelings to which men have risen. Well, my friends, tonight you'll see that the activity of art can be inhuman as well, and that its purpose, at least in this case, is, shall we say, unexpected. The victim's vacant canvas should give you a hint as to the title of our play. It's called Portrait Without a Face. Look closely, and it'll reveal the identity of our leading players. They are Jane Greer, Robert Webber, Catherine Squire, George Mitchell, and Brian Gaffigan. Sit back, relax if you can, while we whet your palate with some bold strokes of terror. Oh, if you have a skylight, be sure to bolt it securely. Otherwise, you won't know that you're absolutely alone.
Shortly. She says, won't you please sit down?
Thank you. Extraordinary.
My nephew painted all these pictures himself, you know.
They're magnificent.
By hand.
I know.
You're from the Janus galleries in New York, aren't you?
Yes, that's right.
Guess old Jane is pretty mad about the will, huh?
The will?
Robbie's will. He left all the paintings to old Janus, you know, because he discovered Robbie, bought his first painting, helped him with money when he needed it. But first, Anne gets to keep all the paintings here until she dies. So old Janus will probably have to wait a long time for his inheritance. He didn't send you up here to get rid of Anne, did he?
No, that's not why I'm here.
Because one death in the family's about all I'm prepared to put up with. 6 months ago Tuesday it was. And the police nor anybody else know who it was did it. Police. They'll never find out.
Why do you say that?
A judgment. That's what his death was. A judgment from on high. On high is good. He was shot through the skylight, you know. Wham! Dead as a mackerel. Dead as a mackerel.
I'm Ann Moffat.
Pleased to meet you, Mrs. Moffat. I'm Arthur Henshaw.
Yes, I know. Mr. Janus wrote me you were coming.
I hope my being here won't
The studio's
inconvenience.
just outside.
I was a great admirer of your husband's work, Mrs. Moffat. As everyone else, I was terribly shocked at the news of his death. It's a great honor for me to do the catalog for the gallery exhibition of his paintings. When Mr. Janus asked me to come up here, I jumped at the chance.
The studio hasn't been open since my husband was murdered. Just as he left it. That's his library up there. All of his papers, notes, memos, everything you'll need for your catalog. There's a small bath to the left. I think you'll be comfortable.
Sure, I will be. Is this a Moffat?
Yes.
Never seen one quite like it.
He painted that for me before we were married. I was his favorite pupil. Although I'm afraid he didn't think much of my artistic talent.
I wonder, could we have that one for the exhibition?
Certainly, you can have them all. All his canvases. Even that one. Robertson Moffat's last painting. A blank canvas. I'll open up the windows upstairs for you.
Mrs. Moffat, did you say, blank canvas?
Yes, he didn't.
Lie quietly there for a bit. Miss Agatha called me when Mr. Henshaw brought you back to the house. You've had a bit of a shock.
Painting?
Now, as I told you before, Anne, you've got to stop it. You've got to get control of yourself.
You didn't see it.
I've given you a sedative. It should start to work in just a little while. Meanwhile, I want you to lie there and keep calm. You hear?
Yeah. So horrible.
How is she, Doctor?
She's all right, I'm sure. I'll send over a nerve tonic as soon as I get back to the dispensary. Mrs. Moffat's been in a bad state ever since Moffat died. Nasty joke to play on the poor girl, if you ask me. Nasty.
If it were a joke and not something else.
What do you mean?
According to Mrs. Moffat, the studio has been locked from the day Moffat was killed until she unlocked it for me a half an hour ago.
Do you realize what you're saying?
I'm not sure what I'm saying.
Well, I'm sure. There's a simple explanation for it. I can think of one right now. Somebody with a perverted sense of humor had a duplicate key to the studio, sneaked in, painted his nasty little picture, and sneaked out. There. Simple?
Yes, that's simple. You may be right.
Well, of course I'm right. Any other explanation would be absurd. This is the 20th century, man, not the 16th.
You know, Doctor, back in those days, if two men were having a conversation like this, one of them would probably be saying this is the 16th century, not the 12th.
At any other time, I should be delighted to have a metaphysical conversation with you. It would probably be both enjoyable and informative. However, this is not the time.
Doctor?
I think I'll send over a tonic for you, too.
Thank you. Mrs. Moffat, shouldn't you be in bed?
Let's go to the studio.
Mrs. Moffat, I don't think you should.
Mr. Henshaw, may I remind you you're a guest in my house at my invitation to do a specific job. I can withdraw the invitation anytime I choose. I'm sorry. I know you're trying to help me. I must destroy that painting.
Where all this fog come from?
It's often like this time of year. It's like this the night Robbie was murdered.
Mrs. Moffat, please don't go back in there. Are you sure that no one has been in that studio since the night your husband was killed?
I have the only key.
Well, couldn't someone have a duplicate key?
No. Robbie had a special lock made and only one key. It was given to me after his murder.
I remember reading that the police had a theory that your husband, that the arrow could have been fired through the skylight.
Yes.
Isn't it possible that someone could have gotten in through the skylight and done the painting?
Yes. Who could be so cruel?
Whoever killed your husband?
Agatha, you shouldn't be here.
I just wanted to see what all the painting was about, and I've seen it. Sure is a mean painting, all right.
Now, I want you to go back to the house and stay there, please.
I wasn't doing any harm. That's just the way he was, you know. Wham! Dead as a mackerel.
It's a cheery old girl to have around the house. Mrs. Moffat, why don't you go back to the house? Let me worry about the painting.
I want it out of here.
All right, I'll take care of it.
I don't want to look at it again.
Mrs. Moffat, let's go back to the house.
What is it?
Let's go back to the house.
What is it? Who's doing this? Why?
I don't know, but I think we should call the police. I think we should lock this studio, go back to the house, and call the police right now.
No.
What is it?
The style. Did you recognize the style? Look closely.
That looks like a Robertson Moffat, but it's not possible.
It is. It's his. He's dead. Robbie's dead. He's painting this picture. Robbie's painting this picture of his murder. Oh, my God. Maybe painting the picture?
Of his murderer.
Now, that's just plain ridiculous, and you folks know it. That's a lot of stupid foolishness.
What's the matter, Sheriff? Haven't you ever heard of ghosts?
Yes, I've heard of them, but I've never seen one, and I don't believe in them.
Sheriff Browning handled the investigation of my husband's murder. He found nothing.
You make that sound like you thought it was my fault, ma'am. We did all we could, but there weren't any clues. No fingerprints, nothing to go by. We're not Superman.
Or believers in the supernatural?
You give us something we can sink our teeth into, and we'll carry it on from there. But all this talk about a picture being painted by a dead man, oh, come on now.
Sheriff, I know my husband's work. I know his style.
Look, I don't know a darn thing about art, I admit it. So you tell me, how do you go about proving a thing like that?
One of the most eminent art critics in America will be here shortly. That picture will be authenticated or otherwise before the day is over.
Well, there isn't much we can do about it until the art expert gets here, is there?
Now, Miss Agatha, I'm going in there whether they like it or whether they don't.
I couldn't keep him out.
It's all right, Agatha. Now that he's here, let him stay.
Trouble with you is you've never heard of the freedom of the press.
Makes no difference to me.
Well, greetings, one and all. Annie? Sheriff?
What do you want, Fairchild?
Oh, and you, sir, must be Mr. Henshaw from New York. Fairchild's my name.
How do you do?
Strange rumors are being circulated around town, and in my capacity as the town's leading and only reporter, and as a dear friend of our dear departed, I felt it my duty to track them down.
What rumors? Who's spreading them?
Now, Annie, a reporter is not obliged to divulge his sources. But since we're all friends here, I hope, I don't mind telling. Dr. Josiah Grant, the local physician and local gossip, told me Mr. Henshaw's touching tale of the ghost in the studio.
Dr. Grandy's worse than an old woman.
Oh, and just a few minutes ago, I ran into a beautiful blonde young woman sashaying down the main street who told me that her husband, our esteemed Sheriff Browning, had come up to the Moffat house on an urgent mission. I put two and two together, and here I am.
I've told Marie time and time again not to open her mouth in front of you, and I'm warning you, Fairchild, you better quit hanging around my wife, trying to pump information out of her.
Sheriff, please. Please.
You're right. Excuse me, ma'am.
I'm sorry, Annie. So what's it to be? An official statement from the police? Or an interview with our handsome young stranger who started this fairy tale? Have you got any more stories to tell us about sliding panels or grinning skulls or clutching hands? Or does your imagination run no further than Robbie Moffat's ghost painting pictures behind locked doors? You know, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if a man who loved life as much as Robbie Moffat did wasn't able to come back from the grave for more. He was a strong-willed beggar, though, wasn't he, Annie? What he wanted, he got. All the time. Didn't he,
Stop
Annie?
it! Stop it!
Get out, Fairchild.
No. Haven't you heard of the freedom of the press?
Outside.
Oh.
Sometime that Fairchild is going to go just too far.
Forgive me. Nat's an old friend. I'm used to his ways, but sometimes, especially when he's been drinking, he's pretty hard to take. I've been so upset. I'm so tired.
Mrs. Moffat, could I trouble you for the key to the studio? Thank you.
Mrs. Moffat, is there anything I can do?
No, thank you.
Are you all right?
I'm fine.
Let me help you up the stairs.
been so kind. I don't know what I would have done without you here. I must write Mr. Janus and tell him he's being very well represented.
That reminds me, I should be working on the catalog. I haven't even begun. I'd better get over to the studio and start.
Mr. Henshaw, this expert who's coming here, what if he says the painting is genuine? What then?
But that couldn't be. Could it?
Quite a picture we've got here, isn't it? Anything more been added since the first installment?
No, not a thing.
And there isn't gonna be. Because I'm gonna sit right here until that expert arrives. Any more hocus pocus in this studio is gonna have to be done right in front of these two eyes.
Well, if you need me, I'll be upstairs working. That looks like a comfortable chair, Sheriff. Don't fall asleep.
Not a chance, Henshaw. Not a chance. What's going on here?
I thought he was a ghost. He looks like a ghost.
But, dear madam, I'm terribly sorry to have upset you, but I assure you I'm not a ghost. Permit me to introduce myself. My name is Martin van der Hoven.
Oh, how do you do? I'm Ann Moffat. We've been waiting for you.
We sure have.
And here I am. I arrive, knock at the door, no one comes. I knock again, still no answer. So I go around the house in the back and look through the kitchen door and see this lady. Unfortunately, the lady looked out at the same moment.
Going around scaring people to death. I thought it was the old Nick come for me for certain.
Madam, I only came here in response to a summons of a young friend of mine, Arthur Henshaw.
The professor has come to examine the picture.
Picture? Henshaw!
Yes?
Oh, Arthur, my boy, how are you?
Professor, I'm glad you're here.
Have you been up there all this time?
Yes, I fell asleep. Why?
Look. The devil's painted more of the room.
The only thing left is the face of the murderer.
Arthur, this is incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yes, isn't it?
Please turn it this way. This is unmistakably a Moffat, unmistakably.
Yes, and the subject matter is his murder.
You mean he was able to foresee and prophesy his own manner of death?
Moffat has been dead for 6 months. Look at the painting again.
No, the paint is still fresh. And it's a recent painting. No, it couldn't be a Moffat, no.
What if it is?
But you're a rational man, and we don't believe in ghosts.
Well, I never have before.
You mean you believe?
I don't know what I believe.
All right, Arthur. Rejoin your friends. Leave me alone with the painting. I would like to be absolutely sure.
All right, Professor.
Is this going to go on all night? Henshaw, how long does it take, this expert of yours?
Sometimes minutes, sometimes hours.
Hours?
Look, you wanted a professional opinion. He's not examining the wrapper on a package of bubble gum.
But don't get smart with me, Henshaw. That crack was unnecessary. I'm not one of your dumb country cops, you know.
That's becoming increasingly clear to me, Sheriff.
Just what do you mean by that?
I mean that all of us here are anxious to get the word, but some of us are more anxious than others.
Oh, yeah? Well, how about you? What's your interest in all of this? Just who are you, Henshaw?
A good question, Pete. I've been asking myself the same thing.
You stay out of this, Fairchild.
Oh, stop it. Stop it, all of you.
Well?
I can't say.
What do you mean you can't say?
I don't know.
Speak up, man.
My train. It leaves in 20 minutes. I don't want to miss it. Arthur, why did you send for me? You should not have sent for me.
Professor, please.
Tell us the truth, Professor, whatever it is.
It is my professional opinion, after examining the picture, that it is unquestionably genuine. Robert Moffat.
come back from the grave. This has gone far enough. Mrs. Moffat, I want that painting. I'm going to take it down to the police lab for a real examination.
Yes, take it, take it.
Robbie, wait. Don't do it.
Let go of me.
You cannot touch that picture. It's not finished.
It's finished as far as I'm concerned. I'm impounding it.
That picture cannot leave the studio. Moffat hasn't painted his murderer yet.
Moffat hasn't what? Have you lost your mind? You don't believe that rot, do you?
Yes, I do.
Well, I don't. If all the fiends in hell came out and marched by me, I wouldn't believe my own eyes. I want that picture.
Well, maybe this will have some effect on you. You want that picture, you're gonna have to get a court order for it.
Get out of my way.
All of Robertson Moffat's paintings have been consigned to the Janus Galleries. As a representative of that firm, technically those paintings are mine.
All right. If that's how you want to play, that's the way it'll be.
So I'm go without the painting.
Yes, I wouldn't let him take it.
You shouldn't have done that.
I have my reasons. Please, trust me.
Something terrible's going to happen tonight. I know it. I feel it.
Mrs. Moffat, please go upstairs. Go to your room. I'll spend the night in the studio. Don't worry. Devil. You old devil.
I couldn't do it. It was impossible. I didn't have a chance. After what's happened, I don't dare try again. I've got something might interest you here. A file on our young friend Henshaw. Clever boy. Went to college. It seems that while he was there, he was a very good athlete. Volleyball, soccer. Oh, yes, here we are. During his senior year, he was captain of the archery team.
Anne? Anne?
Yes?
I'm going to bed now, Anne. You stay in your room and keep your door locked tight.
Why?
Never mind why. You just be sure to do what I say.
All right, Anne. Good night.
Good night now, Anne.
Destroy it. Why did you stop me?
Why do you want to destroy? What are you afraid of? Are you afraid to see that painting completed? Are you afraid to face it, the skylight will be yours? Did you kill your husband?
No. No, I didn't kill him. I hated him, but I didn't kill him.
You hated him?
I hated him. The great Robertson Moffat. So terribly cruel, monstrously vain, selfish, unfeeling, unfaithful. Flaunting it in my face. His constant affairs. Everyone. All to feed his monstrous ego. To show me what a lucky girl I was to have him for a husband. I loathed him. I don't want him to come back in my life. I want him to stay in his grave and out of my life. I don't care who killed him. I don't want to know.
Isn't murder supposed to be final? Isn't death the end? Never is, though. Never is.
I understand how you feel, Mrs. Moffat. Believe me, I do. But it's wrong. Murder cannot go unpunished. You said you felt something terrible was going to happen here tonight. I think you're right. I think we're going to have a visitor very soon. Your husband's murderer does not want that painting finished. Now, no matter what happens tonight, whatever you find out about the murderer or about me, I hope you'll forgive me.
What do you mean? Whatever I find out about you. Who are you?
I told you. My name is Arthur Henshaw. I work for the Janus Galleries. There's something I didn't tell you. I'm a sort of painter. I have absolutely no style of my own. But I have a curious talent. I can imitate. I can imitate the style of any painter in the world, living or dead, including Robertson Moffat. This curious talent has been useless to me until yesterday.
What? You painted?
Yes.
You could have told me.
I couldn't tell anybody. I'm sorry, Mrs. Moffat, if I frightened you. The only way I could think of, it had to be done. Shh. Do you trust me, Anne?
I have to.
Come here. Sit in this chair. no matter what happens. Don't move. Sheriff Browning. His neck's broken.
Pete. Pete. Oh, Pete. I tried to stop him. I tried. But he wouldn't listen. He never listened.
Robbie painted Marie in the nude.
Robbie promised me that no one would see the painting. He said he'd let me have it. And then when I came to get it, he said the only way I would get it was so I went home and I told Pete. But I never thought he'd kill. I never thought he'd kill.
Look.